Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Scott Selections here on Thursday, May 9th. We didn't have a play of the day yesterday or a play in tennis, and it's going to be the same today with regard to the play of the day. As of right now, we don't have one because of the fact that the card is relatively small, not that many baseball games, only 2 basketball games and 1 hockey game, and it's game 1 of a series, so I don't really know how that's going to go. But instead, we could just simply recap what happened yesterday in the world of sports. Interesting game in basketball there between the Warriors and the Rockets, especially with Kevin Durant getting injured in the third quarter, and now he's a calf strain. You have to wonder if he will be playing in the rest of the series. Do I think the Rockets have a serious chance to come back with Durant out? Personally, no. I thought the Rockets did a good job of coming back in the second half after getting absolutely destroyed in the first quarter and for the decent portion of the second quarter. But overall, Durant he's a great player, but the Warriors definitely benefited from Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. How's it going, Terry? Thanks for joining us. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yep, graduation's on Thursday, so hopefully that ends up graduation's on Saturday, I should say, so hopefully that ends up going well. I actually picked up my robe and my gown. I picked up my cap and my gown yesterday, so I already got all the stuff taken care of. So I'm just done. I'm waiting for it to take its course, and then I have the pleasure of moving all my stuff out with my mom. So that's going to be a fun time. But other than that, we'll quickly just go into the leans for the games today. And I will be putting a tennis pick up later in a separate YouTube video, as a lot of you in the comment section expressed that you were a fan of that idea. In terms of why we didn't have one today, I wasn't really a big fan of the card. I had a couple of small leans to the Nadal under as well as the Cilic over, and Cilic over ended up winning. But I didn't really have many thoughts. I didn't really like anything in particular in the card that much, so we just decided to pass on that. But diving into the games today, the first game in basketball, you have the Toronto Raptors versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Toronto's currently a -2-point favorite, or 2.5 in most spots, opened up at -1, and the total has dropped from 213 on the opener to 212. In this game, a lot of the reason why money's coming on Toronto is definitely an overreaction to the fact that the 76ers had their worst game of the season, in my opinion, in Game 5. But other than that, I really agree with the movement here, especially as the games keep going on. Siakam's going to get healthier. And right now, Philly, I don't know what the deal is with Embiid with his stomach and how it always seems like he has excuses when he doesn't play well. And when he plays well, you never hear about his stomach or any type of issues he's having. So I wonder how much of that is kind of fabricated. But overall, Toronto is definitely the better team. If Kyle Lowry plays anywhere near the way that he has this series, for most games, he has been streaky here and there, but overall he's been pretty solid. But Toronto's better bench. Kawhi Leonard's been the best player on the court, and knowing on Philly can guard him, and not to mention the fact that Tobias Harris has pulled a Houdini, and I've not seen him at all in the entire playoffs. Not to mention the fact that Ben Simmons still can't shoot. Embiid's a little bit inconsistent with how Marc Gasol's been defending him, and he's been doing a great job. And J.J. Redick has been doing nothing. So Philadelphia just can't generate enough offense against this Toronto defense, and I would not be surprised to see the Raptors end up closing out the series in this game. And I think that they'll win this game by 5 or 6. Philly's also the type of team under Coach Brown where if it gets tough for them, I think they're going to fold. This team doesn't look like they're able to come from behind to come back from some deficits in game, because I just don't think they're well coached, and I don't think that they have the certain swagger about them. The only player who I'm actually confident will be able to bring their A game and bring its type of intensity needed to come back is Jimmy Butler. Other than that, I don't really see it. So I think Toronto will be able to do whatever they want, and they will win tonight. Moving on, you have Denver and Portland in Game 6 of this series. Denver's up 3-2. Total's been bet down from 215 to 214.5. And the spread has stayed at 3.5 since the opener to now. In terms of the spread, I lean to the over. Money's coming on the under, but the over has hit in the last, believe it was 3 games. So I definitely think that the over is the way to look, especially with how awful Portland played offensively in Game 5. I would expect them to play well tonight in Game 6. And that's also why I'm leaning to Portland on the spread here at 3.5. The fact that Denver demolished Portland and now Portland's a 3.5-point favorite makes me believe that Portland's the right side here. I think Portland just struggled dealing with the altitude and the short turnover with Denver, and they got absolutely demolished. I expect Terry Stotts to come up with a solid game plan, and I expect Lillard and McCollum to shoot better. So I simply think that this game, I think the series is going in 7. So I think Portland will be able to cover this 3.5, and I will lean to the over. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lillard put up 35+ in this game, especially after such an abysmal showing in Game 5. So I think that he will carry them to a victory. Now you have the first matchup in the conference finals of the NHL. You have the Boston Bruins versus the Carolina Hurricanes after another Game 7 yesterday between the Sharks and the Avalanche, in which the Sharks clinched a spot in the Western Conference Final. But in this game, Boston versus Carolina, I like Boston, I should say. Boston was favored by minus 155, down to minus 145 in Pinnacle, mostly minus 150. In this game, I like Boston. We saw in the first round teams with a long layoff, specifically Columbus and the Islanders. They both came in after sweeping. They had about a week off or so, and they both lost game 1 of that series, and they both eventually lost the series. I know that McAvoy's out for Boston after he got suspended for that hit to the head on Columbus, but overall, I think Boston's a better team. Tuukka Rask coming off a shutout, 39 saves. He was great. Carolina, I know that their defense and they just looked like a great team, but as an Islanders fan, I can tell you that the fact that the Islanders had no offense. Carolina's a very good team, but the Islanders just couldn't put the puck in the net. They had opportunities, plus Mrazek, their starting goalie all season long, is now injured, and they've been using a backup. Now, the backup has been solid, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Islanders just simply can't generate any goals, and Boston should be able to put some goals in. In terms of the season series, it was dead even. They played 3 times. Boston won 1 in regulation, lost 1 in regulation, and won 1 in overtime. So an overtime loss, that's difficult to come by, and that's kind of a wash because of the fact that it's not a 3-on-3 overtime like they do in the regulation. So that's kind of a wash. But overall, I lean to Boston here, and I lean to Boston in regulation. I think Boston's a better team. It's in Boston, and Carolina hasn't played in a week. I think that the Capitals are a good team, and the Capitals pushed Carolina to 7. But before the 7th game, Carolina was struggling on the road, and now they beat the Islanders in Brooklyn, which I'm not even going to count as home court advantage. If you've actually been to the Barclays Center for hockey, it is nowhere near the level of the Coliseum in terms of home field advantage, or home ice advantage, I should say. And I think Carolina was able to park the bus and try to limit the Islanders' offensive chances before putting in 1 into the net. I think Boston will use their physicality, they'll use their speed, and they also have a great power play the Islanders do not have behind Bergeron and Marchand, and Chara as well from the perimeter on a slap shot. So I will lean to Boston in that game, and I will lean to the Bruins in regulation in that game for a little extra value. Moving on, a couple of the baseball games already started, but I'll go over some of the other games. You have a game about 10 minutes between Cincinnati and Oakland. Oakland opened up at minus 145, up to roughly minus 170 in most spots. It's Bassett and Rourke. I lean to Oakland here. Bassett's actually been really solid this season after being called up from the minors, and I think that he's definitely better than Rourke. Rourke has been an inconsistent pitcher since he left the Nationals, and Cincinnati has had issues generating runs, so I will lean to Oakland in that game. Moving on, you have the Seattle Mariners versus the New York Yankees with Happ versus Leake. Yankees open up at minus 180, down to minus 150. I don't like Happ at all, and Leake can get hit up. I'd lean to the over 9. 9's available at Bookmaker at minus 119. And it's mostly 9.5 market wide. I just think that both pitchers are definitely vulnerable in this spot, especially in Yankee Stadium. And I would not be surprised to see this game end up somewhere in the realm of 6-4, 6-5, something like that. But in terms of sides, I'll lean to the Yankees, but I don't really trust Happ at all as a Yankees fan. So I would lean to the over in that one. Moving on, you have St. Louis versus Pittsburgh. Total's been bet from 8 to 8.5, and the money line has stayed roughly at minus 140 throughout market wide. In this game, I don't like Waka pretty much at all, especially after we bet on him and he lost in the first 5 under 4.5 about a week and a half ago. It's not even because of the fact that he lost. I just watched him pitch, and his stuff just isn't very dynamic. He tries to be like an Adam Wainwright. He throws a lot of off-speed pitches to try to keep the hitters guessing, but I think he's definitely past his prime. He had a couple of great years in the past, and he was crucial to the Cardinals in one of their World Series runs. But I think that time has passed, and I think that the value is on Pittsburgh in this game as an underdog. I like Musgrove. Pittsburgh also won yesterday. They did well, and I think that they will be able to win this game. I don't think St. Louis should be a minus 140 favorite. I think it should be roughly minus 120. So for that reason, I would lean to Pittsburgh because of the value, and I would lean to the over in this game at 8.5. Moving on, you have the Astros and the Rangers. Over-under of 9. You have Minor versus Miley, and the Astros are currently roughly minus 160 favorites market wide. I like the Astros in this game, but minus 160 is a little pricey for me. I know Miley hasn't been great, and Minor has been pretty good, but I like the Astros lineup, and I don't trust Miley, so I would lean to the over 9 in that game. I think that's a pretty solid play, especially in the Astros dome, so you don't have to worry about weather. I think that Minor will give up a couple of runs. I expect Miley to not pitch well, and I think that both bullpens should give up a couple of runs. So I think this game should end up somewhere in the double digits for runs, so I like the over there. Moving on, you have the Diamondbacks and the Braves with Weaver versus Soroka. Money line is roughly minus 105 for the Diamondbacks, and the total is at 8.5. I'd lean to the under here. I like Weaver. I think Weaver's done a good job of coming back after he was originally an Angel. He's had some injury issues, but he's done a good job revitalizing his career, or I should say reviving his career in Arizona. How's it going, Jeff? Thanks for joining us. In terms of Soroka, he's been pretty good as well. I really don't like the Braves bullpen at all, so I would personally lean to the first 5 under. But in terms of the sides here, I would lean to the Diamondbacks because they are at home, and they've been really solid at home this entire season. Moving on, you have the late game, which is between the Washington Nationals and the Los Angeles Dodgers, between Rich Hill and Corbin. Total's been bet down from 7.5 to 7, and the money line has been bet up from 135 on the Dodgers to roughly minus 145. In terms of this game, I'd lean to the over. Hill's okay. His stuff's not that dynamic. Corbin's been very good, but I don't trust the Nationals bullpen at all, and I expect the Nationals bullpen to struggle again in this game. So for that reason, I lean to the over, and I will lean to the Dodgers, and I would lean to the Dodgers second half money line as well because I don't trust the Nationals bullpen at all. And unless Corbin goes 7 or 8 innings, there's no reason for me to back the Nationals. So if the Dodgers can get to Corbin early or even just make his pitch count reach 100 by roughly the 6th inning, then I think the Dodgers will be in a good position to win that game, and I think the total will be in a good position to go over. But stay tuned later today for the tennis plays, which I will be posting later on this channel. But for that reason, we're going to be signing off here with no play of the day, but those are my respective leans. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets on this Thursday.